All right, we have Ashley. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, I had zero confidence that I would get picked because there's so many women out there that are looking for some coaching. So I'm excited.
Well, I believe that everything happens for a reason. You're the one who's supposed to be on here. How can I help?
Indeed. Okay, so I'm looking for tools, and maybe I'm
Great.
just not far along enough in the modules yet, but this is just I do great at tracking. When I set my mind to something, I can do it. That's never been an issue. But I tell myself these stories. I
Mm-hmm.
justify, like all day long. Track great, ate good, made good choices, and then I worked really hard last night. I had a 16-hour day, so I deserve a chocolate chip cookie with peanut butter on it. Actually, I deserve two. So it's like almost a bit of I I've never thought of myself as having like an eating disorder at all, but like a binge mentality. But
Mm-hmm.
there's like some kind of justification that I tend to make to okay it.
Yeah,
Um,
good.
because I always feel like I hate feeling restricted.
You and
But
most people.
yeah, and even though I've done macros counting and whatnot, and I've had good success over the past year, gained some of that back, getting back on track. But I still feel like, even though this is my choice to do this, still feel like I have to restrict in order to have success. And honestly, like it just kind of pisses me off sometimes. And I just
Yeah,
want to eat a cookie to prove that I don't have to restrict to be
good.
successful. So it's that I know it's
So good.
self-sabotage, but I'm not sure like
Yeah,
where
what's
to
the next step?
and what and how
Yeah,
do I address it?
good. Yes. And so many people are already resonating with this in the comments because this is so common. It's so common. And I am really grateful that you are self-aware enough to be able to like express this, because on some level so many women are struggling with this, and you just being able to self-express this is going to be able to allow us to work through it, and other people are going to see it. So it's going to be super awesome. So this idea of I hate feeling restricted is like you and everybody else in the world. I like to say our brains are like teenagers. It's like none of us want to be told what to do. It's like if you tell your teenage daughter that you may not date that boy, what is she going to do? She's going to
They
go
don't.
date that boy. She's going to date that boy, right? So it's the same thing with our brain. Our brains are teenagers in that way. Is that, yeah, most of us have on some level want to rebel. We don't want anybody to tell us what we can and can't do, which is why stepping into a place of choice is going to be so valuable. And it's going to be a process for you and for a lot of people here, but stepping into a place of choice of like, I actually choose this. This isn't happening to me, I'm actually choosing it, is going to be such a powerful place in your life. And we're going to walk through what it's going to look like to get there. One of the things I think, we're going to do another metaphor. You guys like, I hope you guys like metaphors, because like I got a lot of them. So another metaphor, I want you guys to think about this binge restrict cycle like a pendulum. Like if you know what a pendulum is, right? Like you hang the
Yep.
little thing down, and it like swings back and forth, right? So I want you to think about your eating like a pendulum. And what typically starts to happen is when we start to feel restriction, we're restricting to one side. Like we're pulling back, we're telling ourselves we can't have all the things, and you know, we feel that restriction. And so then what happens when we let the pendulum go?
It's
It swings,
extreme to the other
it
side.
swings to the other
Yeah.
side. And so then we like not only eat one cookie, but we eat 12 cookies. And then what is our solution?
Extreme. Yeah.
Is to go to the
Back
other
on
side.
track.
It's like, yeah, it's like I got to get back on track. I got to eat healthy. I got to eat good. And so we like, and we have all this momentum that we just built up. Of course, it's going to swing back the other way. And then we do good for a while, and then we like fall off the wagon and we swing. And so we like find this pendulum. And most of you, what you want to find is you want to find middle. But you're caught in this momentum, like back and forth, back and forth. And you're like, I don't know how to stop this thing. I don't know how to stop it. And I do. I'm going to help you guys with stopping it. So one of the first things that is going to help you and everybody listening who is struggling with stop that momentum is to remove the judgment. I want you to go back and re-listen to this when we put up the replay. And I want you to track how many times you said the word good, bad, unhealthy, healthy, on track, off track. Like these like judgmental words that you use to describe your situation. I think you're going to be surprised.
Yeah.
Because of what I heard in a lot of your language and what I hear in a lot of clients' languages as they come into this process is a lot of that judgmental language. Eat healthy, eat unhealthy. Eat, the cookie is bad, but so then I binge on the cookie, right? Because it's like this back and forth, this idea of like, we still have some judgment. And for those of you who are coming into this process who have been macro counters in the past, but you've really gone to that macro diet mentality, this is where I see so many women. It's like, yeah, you're like, I track macros. It's supposed to give me this freedom. It's supposed to not make me feel restricted, but I still feel like I still can't have the cookie. Like it doesn't fit into my macros. And so on some level, macros like is supposed to give you all of this. Oh, my thing is dying. Sorry, just changing my stuff. On some level, macro counting was like, it was sold to you as this bill of goods that it's like not restrictive and it's like super freeing. And you don't feel that way because on some level, you're still telling yourself no. You're still telling yourself hitting my macros is good, not hitting my macros is bad. Eating this food is good, eating this food is bad. Like you still are in that judgmental space. And so the solution to that is to start to remove the judgment. Start to remove the judgment of good and bad. Like, you said the word, I love that you said this because it's something that a lot of people think, and I think it's so important to point out. You said the words, I deserve the cookie. Of course you do. You deserve everything. You're never not deserving of everything. And this gets down to the heart of where a lot of women struggle is there is that feeling of unworthiness, that feeling of not enough, that feeling of like deservedness, that we feel like we have to justify that, like, I deserve it. No, you deserve everything always because you already are enough. You deserve everything. Like you all deserve everything at any point in time. So this has nothing to do with you deserving anything because at any moment, at any time, you always deserve things. So starting to notice when that judgment creeps in and starting moving back to that place of neutrality. It is not good to hit your macros. It is not bad to not hit your macros. It's data and feedback. It's not good to eat the cookie. It's not bad to eat the cookie. It's data and feedback. It's not good to be on track. It's not bad to be off on track. It's just data and feedback. This is why one of the first things that I start to teach you guys is about really moving to that place of data and feedback, not judgmental, not shame-filled, this is the secret to not swinging back and forth, is starting to remove the judgment. Now, where most people start to freak out is they're like, but Amber, if I start to remove the judgment, I'm just going to eat cookies all day. Like if I don't label cookies bad on some level, then I'm just going to like eat all day. And that's what we think is going to happen. But in reality, what starts happening is your pendulum starts swinging lower and lower and lower and lower. I'm not saying that you're going to not like, it's going to fix it overnight. But what I am saying is your pendulum is going to start to lose power because the further you pull back, the further you swing the other way. And it's just, your pendulum is being swung back and forth. And so what we got to do is we got to start to slow the thing. And that starts with judgment, removing the judgment and really coming to that place of like, this is data and feedback and getting curious about it, not getting like frustrated about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Now, if we could remove the judgment from my parents when I do eat a cookie in front of them and they look at me like, you don't need to have that. Oh, that's an entirely other can of worms.
Let's open that can of worms because you're not the only one who deals with that. There are many other women who are the same way. It's like there's like judgment on one level from you, but then there's judgment from other people, right? Yeah. There's judgment from your spouse or from your friends or from your family or like these are different things, right? And we're going to talk about them differently. So we're starting with you because you know what? You can control you and you can't really control everybody else, right? So we're starting with you. And with you, we're starting to work on that pulling away that judgment, getting into that place of neutrality. It's not good to hit your macros. It's not bad to not hit your macros. It's just feedback. Okay. Getting to that place of neutrality is going to be so powerful for so many of you. Okay. So that's you. That's you. Now let's talk about your parents. Okay. So tell me, like, what does this look like?
Well, fortunately, they live across the country, so that's a bonus.
That is a bonus.
But yeah, they have seen just my yo-yo dieting, and they love to refer to when Ashley was 18, she was voted best body in high school. I'm like, one, I'm 45, I'm not 18, so that's not a fair comparison. And shut the hell up. Let's not talk about that. But they love to bring that up to random people. And my mom eats like a bird, so she thinks that I should probably eat like a bird too. And I think it's really specific to that generation, especially for women. But yeah, they've seen my kind of ups and downs, and I've had success and regained. And so they think, they're of the mindset, you just eat less and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And so it's really challenging to even enjoy a meal with my folks.
Right. And I think that most people, most family members, most friends think that they're coming from a place of love when they do
Absolutely.
things like they think that they're helping you on some level. And I wonder if you've ever communicated to them how painful and how detrimental that is to your success of them saying that.
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah. And then they don't say anything. Like, okay, we need to be able to have a healthy conversation about this.
Yeah, good. And I think some people, I think we're going to talk about boundaries. But I think one of the things that I think is really important to communicate to family members, I actually did a free coaching Friday on this, and we put it on the podcast. I think it was the last one that we did. Someone remind me of my podcast. It was the last one. It was on Tuesday. When family doesn't support your goals, episode number 160. Okay. So we talk about this, where it's this irony that I think if you've never communicated to them, it may be an aha moment for them. Because what happens is on some level, the family thinks that by saying these things to you, that by reminding you of your 18-year-old body, by like doing these things, that they're going to be motivating you to get to that place where you so desperately want to get to. But in actuality, what they don't realize is that it's backfiring on them, and it's actually causing you to rebel, and it's actually causing you to go the other way. So their intent is good. It's to help you, but in reality, it's actually harming you, and it's actually making it harder to get to the goals that they want you to get to. And communicating that to them can be very powerful, to be like, you're using the wrong tools. Like, if you really want me to get there, these are the incorrect tools to be using to get there, because all it does is make me go the other way. And when you communicate to that and help them to understand that, it may help them to see it differently. And then in addition to that, boundaries. This is where, as an adult woman, you get to set boundaries of what it is okay for someone to talk to you about and what it's not okay for you to talk about. Mom, I'm requesting that you don't ever talk about my 18-year-old body again. And if you talk about my 18-year-old body again, the conversation will be over and I will leave. Right? So there's a consequence associated with that, of like, I'm taking care of myself and telling her what it makes you feel. When you talk about my 18-year-old body, it makes me feel small. It makes me feel insignificant. You probably don't mean that. You probably mean it because you're trying to help me, but in actuality, it doesn't really help me. And if you talk about my 18-year-old body again, we will be done. The conversation will be over and I will leave. And you can say it from a place of love and place of concern, and like, you can say it from a good place, but you get to take care of yourself. You get to create boundaries with the people, and you get to teach people how you want to be treated. I'm happy, Mom, to talk to you about whatever's going on in your life. I'm happy to talk to you about my job. There is a boundary. We will not talk about my body. So, having that conversation, it's a hard conversation to have. I'm not saying it's an easy conversation.
Oh, I don't have an issue having a conversation like that. And I've told her, I was like, you're not bringing this up. And then she meets people, and when I'm not looking, she mentions it, and then they come and say, oh, your mom mentioned. And I'm like, Mom, I've talked about this. Like, I've asked you to not say that.
So there's another boundary, and we can say, Mom, I'm requesting that you do not talk to other people about this. If it gets back to me that you are talking about this is the consequence. Like, I cannot, it is detrimental to me and to my mental health and to the progress that I'm making in my life. I want you in my life, but I cannot have you in my life if you are like going behind my back. And, I think sometimes people in our lives, they are looking for ways to support us, and they don't know how to best do it. And so we can teach people how to best support you. Mom, I know that you care about me, but the best way that you can support me right now is X, Y, and Z.
if you could do these things, that would really be helpful to me. And I know that you want to help me. You want to help me. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. So again, teaching people how to help you, teaching people how you want to be treated, and then holding that boundary if they don't live up to it. That's how you take care of yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's where I've dropped the ball, is not giving a real consequence.
Yeah.
For.
And you have to follow through with it.
Right. Right.
That's on you, right? That's on you of following through with it. And people will get it. Again, I also like to come to these conversations when I'm having hard conversations with people with compassion. People are doing the best with the knowledge and tools that they have right now. Your mom is doing her best with what she knows.
Right.
Her experience and her life story. She's doing her best. But that doesn't mean that we can't communicate a more effective way to help us. And it doesn't mean we can't create boundaries to keep us safe and to keep us healthy in our lives. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That was a long way off from a cookie with peanut butter, but I knew that's where it was, where it needed to go. So thank you.
Right. Because it's actually not a long way off.
Yeah.
It's actually exactly related.
Right.
So
thank you very much.
So good. Good. Yes.